Ann, I am so grateful for this moment. And I'm grateful for this moment because I've had a chance to watch your, and I won't even say work, but your impact across the city. Just in my I've only been here 20 years, but your impact far exceeds that. When you look at your journey and you think about the work that you labored in at IBM, the impact you had through the Olympics, and even the impact now, what threads it all together? What do you think is the superpower to your service over all these years?
Ooh, I love that question. But first, I just really am so honored to be here, and especially as you all start this series, to me, I am so thrilled that an organization like Atlanta Housing is taking time to really think through how you want to be as an organization. And because you have a leader who understands that and cares and lives into role modeling for others, that is so exquisite. So I thank you, and I'm thrilled to be here.
Thank you.
And actually, the question you asked is that foundational, fundamental question of the thread of who the arc. The joke is I did work at IBM for an arc of 46 years, starting as a little systems engineer, and then Jeff and I have lived in Little Five for 53 years, same house, same spouse.
Wow.
But on that and is that foundational kind of rootedness is always grounded in faith. And so for me, that becomes that thread of the who I am consistently over time, no matter where we are, who we're with, or how we interact with people, is the same in terms of that respect. And so therefore, as a Christian, I'm a Christian, and it's been really interesting that over the past 5 years, I guess, since 2020, I've become very involved with the interfaith community and realized that because I'm a Christian, it's not really different from being in any other faith, because we all have the same basic beliefs. And for me, the foundational premise and faith statement is that all I'm asked to do is to love. And in that case is seeking justice, seeking mercy, seeking peace within every person, and then respecting the dignity of every, and we always say this 1,000 times with exclamation points, every human being. And of course I've added that to every little creature, even a roach, but not respecting that roach as I squunch it. I know God loves you, little roach. But I think, but the and for me is that creates both the consistency and sameness, and that uniqueness of who you are in the midst of whatever situation where we can be in relationship. It's all about being in relationship. So that's it. So there's a consistency, whether it's in corporate, whether it's in public, or the nonprofit community. It's called people. Like when you had Christopher here in the state, I mean, he's managing federal money, state money. He's still working with people in a community affairs. You, the city of Atlanta, are working in housing, but the interface is with the community of people. You just said it, all the people. So it's the simplest question, simplest to answer, but some people are still struggling with it. But for me, that's sort of since I was 12 years old, it's sort of been the sense of the who I am.
Wow. When you think about, So you really have shaped, God, since you were 12, your whole principle about doing well by doing good. When you think about how that has served you in being able to make such an impact and quite honestly convince people to financially invest in things beyond what they would typically invest in. How did you go about that?
Well, again, it goes back to values, and this is where I'm really congratulating you on creating a culture based on values.
Thank you.
And every organization is not always based on values, or if it is, it may not be lived every day because the leader is the example, exhibit A, of who we are. And so for me, the whole idea for corporate citizenship, for instance, came from companies like IBM, who from the beginning, again, that DNA, and the gratitude is in a DNA, because some organizations don't have it in their DNA. In fact, all of this is a funny thing. I would talk to all these great high-tech people, because I was very involved with the U.S. Chamber and worked very hard at that question you just asked of how to have all companies, businesses be involved in community, because they can bring talents and assets and influence. But some will say, oh no, I don't need to do that till I make my first billion. And I'm saying, not good enough. No, you start with you as whoever the innovator is, or the imaginator, or the person who's going to create this great company, because it's got to be in the DNA. And so consequently, if it's not in the DNA, but it emanates from a great leader who creates that kind of DNA, then you can begin to set that stage. And I'm going to tell you, in addition to sort of talking with, I do a lot of high tech, but now companies like Go Beyond Profit, which was started by Jackson Healthcare, that any company, you don't have to be a Bill Gates or a Warren Buffett to make a difference. You can be a farmer. You can be any small business. We do that at the Russell Center with entrepreneurs. Starting from the beginning is how you almost steward or tithe or make contributions from the beginning. Because I get frustrated, and y'all, I'm telling you, Atlanta is blessed with companies who have that DNA. UPS, Coca-Cola, Home Depot and its commitments. I mean, all of those companies are so, Delta, have the DNA of who we are as a community of people serving a community of people. So I'm going to give you a little hint.
Okay.
A hint. Did you realize that no matter who you are, for-profit, not-for-profit, public sector, we all have three things to do no matter what. We all have to manage E to R, expense to revenue. Right, people? Yeah.
That's right.
Yes. No debt, no mismanagement, right? We all have to demonstrate our return on investment, ROI, right?
That's right.
What is our impact, right? That's what I say, for-profit, not-for-profit, and public sector.
Yeah.
And we all have to do what? Delight our clients. Hello. If you're not, you're out of business because your clients are going to leave or get mad or say y'all are crazy. And so Atlanta Housing has those three things, E to R, ROI, and delighting your clients. And if you're not, who are you? And so consequently, that's sort of the punchline when we were starting corporate social responsibility, is that as companies, yes, we're founded to, quote, make money, make widgets, or whatever. But if you don't, like IBM had three basic beliefs, and they happen just to align with who I am. I mean, but that's what your company, i.e. AH, should align with who you are. Ours was that we respect every person. That's the employer, the customer, the vendor, the contractor. Aha, that's amazing. And that's the respect part. Then you have to deliver on your promise to your client. Ta-da! And again, that could be your contractor and your vendor and your customer and your community. And then the third is to leave your community better than you found it, because frankly, the community is the source of your business.
That's right.
So therefore, those were three IBM beliefs. That basic belief, respect, that you deliver, and you leave the community better than you found it. So therefore, I could live into that. And then you ask everybody, so what's the AH basic beliefs? Do you have them?
We have them.
Are you living into them? Does everyone can do it? It's like it's right there on the palm of your hand.
Yeah, we actually have it on the wall.
Yes! And can you say it?
I can. Excellence is our floor.
Thank you.
Excellence is our floor. And when I think about excellence being our floor, and this is one of the things I've been sharing with Dwayne and Kelly a lot, you can't be what you don't see.
Thank you.
And,
Yes.
and so one of the things that just in my season that I really have been focused on is, who am I as a leader? Am I acceptable with that person I see as a leader? And who do I need to become in order for AH to go to the next level of excellence?
Yes.
And so as I think about that for just my own self, and I'll get back to the question about Atlanta housing, but I have to be selfish for a moment.
Go for it, girl.
From a leadership perspective, what have you embodied to really bring forth not just good leadership, but leadership that people can trust and, quite honestly, invest in?
See, that's so good. I'm going to give you another example, a personal one. This is I am a very old person, so that's, you just claim that. But the trust part is the deliver on your promise is really that crux if you're respecting people and leaving the world better than you found it, sort of. But it's that whole delivering, being there, and I always say presence and participating and then giving. But y'all, this is a fabulous little story. How many engineers are in this room? Y'all have some engineers. Yay! Well, he's an engineer. But anyway, so the and is when Governor Busby, they weren't alive then. When Governor Busby was governor, he was chair of the National Governors Association because we were hoping our precious President Carter was going to get elected that second term, and that's when Governor Busby was chair. And he had to make some appointments of public appointments to a lot of the registration boards like medical, legal, and engineering.
Okay.
And he knew that I had been in my name a systems engineer, right? So he said, Ann, you wouldn't be afraid. You're a woman. We can appoint you to the engineers board. And what was it made of forever? White men from where? Across the street at North Avenue Trade School. So they were not happy about having this woman who wasn't a real engineer, because I'm a math major, not a real engineer. I had a title, but it was really cute. But I wasn't real. But the Governor Busby, but he trusted me that I knew how to run meetings. I would show up. I would deliver. And so there, sometimes when I first started, I sat at what we would call the children's table because they didn't know that I could really sit at the big table because I really wasn't real. Yeah. And one day, I was always early, of course, right? Be early, not just on time. If you're on time, you're late. Thank you.
Can we say that again?
Yeah. If you're on time, you're late.
Thank you.
Thank you. And so I got there early. They were there. I sat at the head of the table. What are you doing at the head of the table? Oh, I'm sitting at the head of the table. Well, just go ahead and lead the meeting. And because previously they never had an agenda, we were there forever. I don't think we got any much done. So I sat there. Everyone participated. Tell me, Terry, what are you thinking? Are we going? Da, 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 Got finished early. Everything was done. There were no weird comments like, a girl is applying for engineering. Nope. And so consequently, the trust built. And therefore, I ended up being chair of the Professional Engineering Board for 12 years for the state. But not because I was good, but the emboldenedness, but then the trust and delivery, but also, unfortunately, I'm going to tell you, it's persistent and perseverance and perspiration. And so it does take continuing to show up, deliver, and actually being positive and respectful with a way that still delivers and on time, on task, on target, always.
On time, on task, on target. I just hear some things I'm going to repeat.
No, I'm not kidding you.
I know you're not.
Because what's the one thing we all have the same no matter what? T-I-M-E. Everyone in this room has 24 hours. Some of us has more energy, some people have less, some people are wibbly wobbly, some are old, but we all have time. So how do I respect that in ways that's universal? None of this takes any money. You know what we're talking. So back to companies.
Yes.
And how we get people to do, that was the whole thing. That we said, well, we're not really asking for money, but you have talent. You have people who might help with accounting or work with strategic planning and being involved in bringing that, and then all of a sudden people get connected as corporate volunteers. And then you've got folks who are committed, And then the leaders, and making sure your leaders are involved on communities. One of my favorite jobs at IBM, because I had the Americas, but the global development of our team, and it was to put our executives on community boards.
Wow.
Within a range, we were always on the chamber, we were always on an urban league or United Way or something that had consistency sort of all over the world, that they could then demonstrate their leaders. They'd sit with their clients, they'd get a little something out of it because their CEO might be there too. So yeah, I mean, that's not good or bad, but you're still delivering. And I think it's that respect, showing up, continuing to deliver, and be able to be a part of a team where then in that case everyone at the end of the day said, wow, we got something done.
Yeah.
We got something done.
No, that's phenomenal, because what I heard you say is so many aspects, that the leader has a responsibility, but it's really the entire team.
Yes, ma'am.
That has to show up in a collaborative sense. One, we have to all believe and go in the same direction. And then we have to show up to deliver upon the results that are required to serve the customers and, quite honestly, serve each other.
It works.
Yeah.
I always look in triads. And like you have the community, and then the organization, and then you have your skills. So I think whatever the triad is, there's always a sort of a triad. One's always going to be the person, going to be the organization, and then your process, or whatever it is. But they're never silos. I was on a call this morning for an organization on which I'm a board member, and we were saying, well, why doesn't the person from this department work on an issue called fundraising in a broader sense? Oh, well, they just sit over there. You think, no. They're part of the team. They have relationships over here that could be potential funding for the whole. And I thought, that's it. So get out of our silos into the community in ways that we listen to what is going on and share.
Yeah. When I think about the time that we're in right now, so probably back in January, we received a memo, and we received this memo regarding federal fund rescission. You guys remember that?
Oh, yes.
Okay. And it was Pam. It was Pamela Owanta. We were in our senior leadership team meeting, and I asked a question, because we had sent an email out to the entire staff basically saying, hey, we're aware of this memo, da-da-da-da. And I said, well, how's everybody, how's the team doing as a whole? And Pam was the only one around that table that said, Terri, the agency needs to hear from you. People are afraid right now. They need to hear from you. And so we did a video that afternoon that basically, said, we don't know, right? We don't know. We're in a season of uncertainty, but what we do know is that we're Atlanta Housing. And Atlanta Housing is built to last, and we're built to stand. And we've really, since that memo came out, I think it was like January 24th or 26th, we focused on 4 things, right? One, how do we continue to serve every last person that we're serving?
Every last person.
Every last family we serve, we're going to make sure we serve.
You still have a job to do.
Still have a job to do. How will we continue to keep it? We have the most robust real estate pipeline that this agency has had in decades. How do we continue to keep those projects going? Because it's not just building housing, it's actually transforming and changing communities. Third, how do I make sure the folks in this room actually stay in this room so they can help us lift up serving our families and keeping that pipeline moving forward? But then we added one in, and the one we added was around what we call resident self-sufficiency. Right. But what I really think about is how do we help people? Mm-hmm. And how do we help people and grow them so in order for them to help themselves? And so when you think about who we are as an agency, the time that we're in this federal climate where we know resources are dwindling. The average, I think 60% of our households make less than $17,000. Mm-hmm. And so it's more than just an economic issue. It also becomes a class issue too, right?
Amen.
And so how do we, as we think about reinventing the work that we're doing and inviting, probably not the usual suspects in to assist us, how should we think about partnerships? And how should we think about partnerships from the standpoint of quite honestly, being able to lift our families so that they can, quite honestly, stand on their own at some point.
Ooh, I love that. One, I just love how you're thinking and adding that fourth pillar, laying the table.
Yeah.
That is substantial because, as you're saying, there is that first, you still have work to do. There are people literally there. But what I love about, and of course, because she is she and came from the mayor's office, and we're working now on a neighborhood strategy.
Yeah.
And the neighborhood strategy, to me, is like that perfect example of, quote, your solution. And it doesn't mean that you're going to get more dollars necessarily, but you're going to get more done. And that's how I love it, because you're going to get more done because, where's Ralph? I'm going to use our little example in the Douglas cluster. As you all know, the mayor has his 7 neighborhoods that he's identified, but nothing is by itself. It's all about how do we create a community of people who can all thrive. Best city in the world in which you can raise a family, right? And so in these identified neighborhoods, which are, I would like to say, some of them are stripped naked, not many assets at all, much less food or health care or transportation or safe housing. Yeah. And so to me, it's in that coming together in the collaboratives of having I always like to say we have pride in what we do, but not pride that prevents us from getting what we do done. Yeah. And therefore, the pride is in getting things done within the assets that we have available across the board. And so, for instance, in the cluster we're working in Douglas, which has lots of opportunity but not many assets. And I always look at Maslow, where we say, what are those basic rungs of the hierarchy needs of the housing, the hunger, the health, and the safety? That's you. Yeah. And how do you collectively, with your collaborators, co-labor means work. Collaboration is not a word that's easy. Co-labor. And it means when you're making a partnership, you can tell I've done a million presentations on collaboration and partnerships because it's mutual.
Yes.
Mutual work with mutual results. Yeah. Mutual investment. Mutual. I mean, it's like, duh. But then you think, oh, I've got a partnership. They're going to do it all. No. Yeah. Sometimes you do it more. But I think that's where I look at that, and I'll look at the little Douglas cluster, because we've got work going on in West Side, yay. Work going on in Grove Park, yay. Some work going on in Thomasville Heights. Thank you. Downtown, woohoo. Yeah. My space, yes. Yeah. And then our little Douglas cluster, which is, I don't know how many of y'all are graduates of Douglas, but where you are, yay, Ralph. There's a proud group out there. Yeah. Because that's the point. I mean, I think where housing is a vital component. Yeah. We can't get anything done in that community without AH. And you say, which we know, we've reduced funding. We know that. Yeah. But the and is there are private sectors that are coming every day to the mayor's office to think about how can we partner. And we'll say housing is a very important part of that. Right, Mom? Yes. And I have my little buddy Frank Fernandez trying to raise pennies, right, to help you from the philanthropic sector. Right. So I think my sense is none of us are going to do this alone, but the and is we have a lot of possibility and probability of doing it together. And this is why I'm never giving up. You know, the and for me is hope lives every day, even in the crap that we face, of not nice. Yeah. That's the one thing I can't understand, why people can't be nice, you know? Respect goes a long way. Respect, but I think for you, your question is you have assets, you have amazing people with skills and talent. You do have some resources, not enough. But then let's see where the needs are, how we collaborate, how we build probabilities and possibilities into real things that are valuable to the people that you serve. Yeah. We got this covered.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. You know, when the mayor, when he was here a few months ago, we talked about Atlanta being this group project. and what love looks like, right? Because
Yep.
the mayor
His love
often,
language,
his love
yeah.
language, and he often has said affordable housing is his love language. But what that made me think of, and especially while I'm sitting here with you, what do you think is the magic of Atlanta? What makes Atlanta so special?
Well, you know you're going to get another one. Y'all have so many little. And what I've talked about yesterday was Atlanta Way 2.0,
Yeah,
which
wow.
is, no, it's who we are as a community. It's an open, inclusive, I mean, in all honesty, we want everyone to be involved. Some people don't know how to be involved, some know how to ask to be involved. But our old Atlanta way was a lot of, quote, white guys who did paternalistic things that worked. They worked pretty well, and then a few black guys got in on it. But then the and is the community grew. We don't have as many corporate CEOs that couldn't influence as much. It's much broader, more spread out, newer people. So how do we invite every one of you in this room to be activators? And the response is amazing.
Wow.
Of folks saying, but I'm already an activator. Yes, but formalize it and be an activator, be a connector, have compassion for those around you, be invitational to invite people to things, to participate as volunteers, go to your congregation. I mean, there's so many things. Y'all, this is funny. 1 week, Ann had 5 meetings. One was at Chattahoochee, one was at Ellsworth Industrial, one was at Bishop Street. This is a funny thing. One was at Lee White, and one was at the Met.
Oh, wow.
And meetings. All I saw were y'all, young people, milling around, getting beers at the walking on the belt line. That's me. But anyway, I said, okay, and that's you. Okay, have y'all been to see the theater recently? Have you been to hear the symphony? Do you give to United Way? I mean, whatever, anything. And so it's that whole sense of engaging people, and you can say, well, I'm afraid. What are you going to lose? Not much.
Yeah.
Somebody will say no.
Yeah, that's okay. They'll say yes eventually.
Yes, but
Yeah.
then you still, but I do think the Atlanta Way has a thing, and because we have been literally successful as a community, and you know, I'm going to tell you, which we all know in this room, we have a whole lot of work in terms of economic mobility to do. And we, Atlanta Way, is doing a session next week on economic mobility, where the Raj Chetty report with the Harvard Institute has placed, guess what, Atlanta at number 50, of course, of all the cities in terms of economic mobility, and your people are it.
Yeah.
So the question is back where you started, is how do we engage people so that they can begin to have access to not stay in the 4th rung of economic access, not just move to 3rd, but 4th. Where is the education? Where are the opportunities? And having our mayor, having the regional leads of our chamber, the foundations and philanthropy, ARC, Anna, and of course, what did I say, chamber, Anna, Katie. Oh, Milton, the United Way, all the nonprofits are saying, taking all of the work independently, like child well-being, housing. The chamber is now focused on workforce and talent, and that's so all 4. Oh, and Anna will tell you from ARC, I care more about human infrastructure often than building roads, because if I don't have people, we can't build infrastructure. The most important infrastructure is human infrastructure. So I think that's where the economic mobility issue is critical to our success. But what makes Atlanta great is I just think that essence of loving each other, and everyone has an opportunity to participate in the community. Everyone. This is where, remember, Points of Light and Hands On started, where folks said everyone has a possibility to volunteer. Episodic, I mean, all of that. So. Thank you for letting me do another plug.
No, hey, I appreciate it.
Be an activator Atlanta Way 2.0.
So as we're doing plugs.
Yes, go for plugs.
How do we best, and I say we because it's collectively all of us, because quite honestly, the strength of the work that I'm able to do is really based on your hands.
Exactly.
And the way you're lifting up, quite honestly, the mission that we've set forth as an agency. And so I don't want you all to ever forget that. I think I shared with someone, they was like, well, Terri, we're rooting for you. I said, I'm rooting for us. right? You know, I'm rooting for us because it's literally all of us. I'm the face of the agency, but it's collectively everything that we do each day. And so as I'm thinking about that, and I'm thinking about Atlanta housing and the Atlanta Way 2.0, but quite honestly, integrating Atlanta housing story and impact into that conversation, what advice would you give me?
Okay, I'm going to give one personal story about you.
Oh.
It answers the question, because all the PR in the world doesn't matter unless you live the story. So this is a cute story. Ann Cramer got to interview this precious person for Leadership Atlanta, and we were sitting in a tiny little tea company on the Beltline behind Lady Bird, owned by Precious Brandy.
Yes.
Okay, we're sitting there in a little corner, no one could see us. And this precious woman comes barreling into the room and says, "You're Terri." And she, of course, said, "Yes, I am." And listening, the woman went on a rant relative to the fact that she had been trying for weeks to get someone to call her back, that she was going to lose her housing because no one from AH had called her back. This precious woman had been in the job, what, 3 weeks, not even a month.
Not even a month.
And she said, "Oh, honey, you know, listen." They changed phone numbers. The minute Terri got back in the car, she called her. I called her back. I said, "Did you talk to the lady?" "Yes." The next day was a staff meeting, and everyone on the staff got the message. That will never happen again.
Yeah.
We as a community will be responsive to everyone who calls, because that person is a precious person who has the need for a place safe for her family. And so living into this language of love is what your CEO does. That wasn't her job to call back this lady. She could have said, "Oh, thank you for calling. Thank you for coming in. I'm talking to Ann. We're important, you know, and we're doing important things. You just go get a cup of tea and I'll have somebody call you." That's what she could have done. No. She made it her job to be available to this precious person in crisis, losing her job. And that may not be your job, but it is your job if you're on the street or at the Publix or anywhere on the Beltline and someone calls up and they say, "Oh, you have your housing authority t-shirt on." That's your job. And so to me, it gets back to the whole, which is a second bigger picture, is that everyone in here wears the brand of Atlanta Housing.
That's right.
And in wearing the brand, whenever you're in the community, you're extending your hand into the community, whether it's in Buckhead or Bankhead, as we say. But in that you bring that value, your palm, the value of who this organization is, and you, because it's in your hand. And then, I always love this part, the thumb is sort of the strength of your legal, ethical, and moral in everything you do with this organization, because you are the organization. And I always like, my little pointer here is the person, is how you treat people. You treat everyone with grace and dignity and respect. And then this, of course, is my tall environmental finger, like the tree. So how we treat the land, all the land you own.
Yes.
You do own a lot of land.
We do,
but
I'm building on it.
I know, honey.
I'm building
and people
on it.
are going to have a place to stay.
Yes.
So, but treating the land. And then this is the ring, the promise finger, the heart finger, you know, the line. Well, actually, it's the left hand, but the promise finger of how you deliver on your promise to your clients. And then this is your kind of philanthropy of where you are in the community, being a partner. And so as you say you do it, you deliver, and you say, "I'm presenting who I am when I shake a hand. I am AH. You am AH. Whoever you are in this room, no matter what, you have a badge, you have a heart, you have a hand, you have a head." So you're saying, "I am AHA, and I'm delivering my hand to you in the community." And so that means you have the value, the culture, your legal, ethical, and moral. Hello.
Wow.
You respect people. You respect the creation.
Wow.
You deliver on your promise every day, and you have an opportunity to give back in ways that enhance this community, which is the Atlanta way.